Welcome back to the Grand Solar Minimum channel. Today is Thursday, July 18th, 2019. Hope everyone has had a wonderful day. Got some space weather news to start off the show tonight here at the grandsolarminimum.com, where Mari has taken the time to put together some links for our show tonight. We also have the replay of the YouTube video right here embedded at our website. Let's get started with some space weather. Our solar wind speeds are currently sitting at a 377.1 kilometers per second with a density of 1.1. Our KP indices are sitting at a 1 with a 24-hour max of a 2. And while we're at it, let's check out the TCI, which has dropped once again from 2.85. Now it is down to 2.73. This is the lowest that we have seen it here at the Grand Solar Minimum channel since we've been reporting on TCI. The record minimum was 2.05, and that was back in February of 2009. So right there in the middle of that minimum that we had, the last minimum, which was one of the deepest in the last 150 years. Let's go ahead and go over to our space weather section. As I said before, our KP is at 1. 24-hour max is 2, so nothing happening at this moment. The sun is blank. I believe that's now 10 days in a row without sunspots. Let's go ahead and check out the SDO zoomed in a little bit here, folks. And we really don't see much of a disturbance on the front of our sun at this time. There is a coronal hole that is opening up right now as it's turning towards Earth. We'll continue to monitor and see if there's any more development in that side, but also want to point out that there was it looks like a CME that was occurred on the western limb of the sun. And just so you guys know what I'm talking about here, let's go ahead and move that right back in this area, and that's why we're seeing the camera jolting here. I believe that there was a minor effect from that CME. Now, it was not Earth facing, so it shouldn't do any kind of direct geomagnetic activity, but it could ping the magnetic field. So we'll just keep our eyes on that over the next 72 hours. Until then, really, we don't have anything going on with our sun. The coronal hole that we showed you, I think it was Tuesday night, we will begin to see maybe some increased solar wind speeds beginning tomorrow and into July 20th, which is Saturday. Let's take a look at our star all the way around, and I'll tell you, clear right now, but once we get on the eastern limb and right before that, a few clicks back, we've got a pretty decent sized coronal hole that is now appearing. So we will watch that. That's right on the equatorial region. So if that thing continues to hold up as it is right now and get a little bit larger even, we could see some geomagnetic activity from that particular coronal hole based on the solar wind. And of course, how wide this is, we could see possible G1 or G2 storms if this thing holds up when it comes Earth facing. Other than that, nothing to really report on sunspots. No active regions that to be concerned of at this time. Our TSI reading for July 9th, 2019 was at 1360.6952. We peaked out over the 1360.825 region back in the 1st of July. And since then, we've seen a continuing trend of declining TSI. Once again, it hasn't moved that much. We've had a couple of times where we've dipped below the 1360, but not much, folks. So again, TSI being monitored as much as we can. The information is usually about 8 days behind when it comes to these readings from this particular source anyway. All right, so let's get with it here. Don't have a lot tonight, but we have a few things, and I'm going to start off with the very difficult volcano here. Strong tremor signal at SUBSCIBESTAR volcano. Aviation color code raised to orange in Alaska. Elevated seismicity that began under the SUBSCIBESTAR volcano in Alaska on July 17th, 2019 increased overnight. Was followed by a stronger tremor signal at 7:39 UTC on July 18th. In addition, an infrasound signal was produced on an infrasound array located about 161 miles east on the Adak Island. This event likely produced ash emissions. And at the current level, continued unrest, similar events could occur with little to no warning, according to the AVO. The meteorological cloud deck has been around 10,000 feet above sea level over the volcano, and no ash signals have been detected above this height. A small plume about 11 miles from the Cerberus vent was visible in satellite data from yesterday, but did not contain an ash signal. Nothing has been detected in lightning data either. As a result, AVO has raised the aviation color code from yellow to orange and volcano alert level from advisory to watch as of 1838 UTC time. So thanks to the watchers.news for continuing to cover everything, and there's a lot to talk about. Some days we have a little bit of news, but the thing that I find that's still frequent about the news is that we still are talking about earthquakes, volcanoes, and floods happening somewhere. No matter how little events have happened in the day, it's still something to report. Heavy rain floods Toronto, Canada, July 17th, 2019. Flooded numerous roads, including major ones, causing traffic delays and leaving some motorists trapped in floodwaters across the greater Toronto area. Toronto Fire said it responded to 12 water rescues in 2 hours, ending at 11:30 local time, with multiple cars trapped in floodwaters at each location. Serious flooding took place on the Highway 400 ramp and Illinson Avenue, CTV News Toronto reports. At least one car had to be hoisted out of the high water. The Toronto Regional Conservation Authority issued a flood warning Wednesday afternoon after some areas received more than 3.1 inches of rain in less than 6 hours. Now, due to the heavy rainfall moving across the greater Toronto area, rivers within the area are expecting high flows and high water levels. Some portions of Black Creek have overtopped riverbanks and causing local flooding issues. All rivers and streams within the GTA should be considered dangerous. Here's a little bit of footage here, folks. Take a look at this in the Toronto greater area. Cars being hoisted out. I mean, at this point, the car's been submerged. It's probably totaled out, unfortunately. More images from Twitter. Again, I always see probably the best collection of video imagery and photography in these Watchers News when they put these Twitter feeds together here. So thanks again to Watchers.news for their coverage, taking the time to bring us the unique footage, not the ones that we see on every Facebook page. Again, just an idea of how heavy the rain was. We'll leave a link on our website for you guys to check out later. And Asteroid 2019 NF7 flew past Earth at 0.98 lunar distances. We've seen closer ones, but it did make the news today. Newly discovered asteroid designated 2019 NF7 flew past Earth at a distance of 0.98 lunar distance on July 9th, 2019. This is the 30th known asteroid to fly by within 1 lunar distance since the start of the year. This is the 30th known asteroid to fly by Earth within... wow. Mari is my statistician. I'd like for you to maybe look up when we get some free time. I'm curious to know how many less than 1 lunar distances asteroids do we get a year?
I don't know a year. I know that we've had a few, it seems, pick up right now. I think it's that time of year. There's certain things orbiting around, and our atmosphere is sort of not deflecting them as they would,
right,
since we are in minimum.
Right, magnetic field's a little weaker. So that could have a lot to do with it as well. But something still piqued my interest here, and I'll have to look into that myself. This object belongs to the Armour Group of asteroids. It was first observed, I should say, at Palomar Mountain, ZTF, on July 9th, 2019, and made known to the public by the CNEOS on July 18th. The asteroid has estimated diameter between 29 and 66 millimeters. That's 95 to 216 feet. It flew past at a speed of Earth about 9.30 kilometers per second. Not as fast as we would have thought. Some cool little graphics here on SPACEWEATHER.com. I'm sorry, I should say watchers.news. Having a rough day today, guys. Sorry about that. Here is a record of all of the less than a lunar distance passerby asteroids. The closest looks like we hit the 0.18 mark back in January 16th. We hit the 0.19 mark May 16th. Interesting. A lot of synchronicity here, guys. We'll leave the link at our website. Oh, here we go. This is a great chart here. So we see asteroids within 1 lunar distance in 2018, and it breaks it down month to month. So 24, 37, 39, 41. Roughly around 60 or more, 70 in a year. Obviously, we've seen an uptick. And that has to do, I would think anyway, that the weaker magnetic field is not doing its job like it usually would during solar maximum, deflecting these asteroids a little bit further out. I believe anyway. That has something to do with it. But definitely you guys can look at this chart, and there's a huge difference so far for the first part of this year going into the second half of 2019. Very interesting stuff here, guys. More flooding, rivers at highest levels since records began. 60,000 homes destroyed or damaged in Bangladesh. At least 60,000 homes were washed away or damaged in 13 districts across Bangladesh after a heavy monsoon rains hit Bangladesh and neighboring countries over the past week. At least 26 people have been killed and 3 million have been marooned. Over the past couple of days, rivers overflowed. 122, flooding thousands of villages right now. Thousands of villages, folks. According to the special flood bulletin issued by Bangladesh Water Development Board on Thursday, July 18th, rivers Jumana and Tista are at levels not seen in 40 years of water level records. The Jumana River, 8.38 inches above the danger level. And on July 17th, and the Fucheri, I believe that's how you say it, breaking its previous record of 8.20. Others here that were 8.31 inches over as well. New water record level also set at River Tista Dalia, point at 20.91 inches above the danger level on July 12th. Previous water level record was 20.88, so it didn't smash the records by any means, but still. It beat the record. What year was that set? 2017. So right at the beginning of, I would say, where the minimum conditions started to settle in. 2016, I believe, we started to see the decline in solar activity late that year. And 2017, we got a little bit weaker. And of course, 2018 was a lot weaker. And right now, 2019 is scary weaker, in my opinion. Take a look at some footage here of some of the more flooding issues. It's a news report, don't want that. Some of these say not for broadcast in different languages, and then we get dinged. So maybe I won't show them. You guys can check out this flood footage here, watchers.news. Again, 60,000 homes across 13 affected districts. About 3.2 million people stranded, and excuse the pack of rhinos that you hear in the background.
I'm going to get the puppy.
Thank you.
And put her somewhere. We have a puppy and a kitten, and they really are best friends.
Fantastic.
Oh my god.
All right. Got some more footage too, flooding footage here. This is Turkey. This is not the first time this year we've seen this kind of flooding out in Turkey, but it is the most recent. This was as of today, July 18th. More footage. What a mess this really can be. Cosmic ray increase. I did a solar update today, and it's talked about how we've seen rates more than double since 2015. Also, if you guys take a look to my right, our good old friend David Birch, the artist formerly known as the Starman, now TSM Solar Observations, has a little weather update here in the Twitter feed. Check it out. It's from the UK. Very reliable source, guys. One of the most trusted in the community as far as information. Let's take a look at a little bit more flooded. These are a little bit more raging waters here, guys. Unfortunately, we have an email that I want to read later in the broadcast from a person who has driven through Kansas and has firsthand seen the flooding out there in Nebraska and Kansas. And it's not good. And what bothers me the most is that this person that communicated with me, I've been talking to him via email probably over a month now. And this gentleman kind of just gives me a little bit tidbits here and there, updates about flooding and stuff like that. So nice guy, but this email is becoming a more common sight across the United States. Guys, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Do you like this show? Give us a thumbs up. Want to support us more? Share to your favorite social media platform, buy a t-shirt, or become a Patreon. All links are in the description below.